Yeah.
My favorite.
It's Judd's Hockey Show.
To post-game edition, Judd's Hockey Show from Grand Casino Arena, where the Wild beats the Ducks 2-0 tonight. Jesper Wallstedt, absolutely brilliant in goal. He makes 28 saves. He has now won, 3 consecutive starts. He's given up 2 goals in that time because he shut out Calgary last Sunday. And there's a lot to talk about off this game. But, yeah, let's talk about Wahlstedt and his play, because I think there's a definite discussion here. Like, we are seeing a different goaltender. We are seeing a guy that looks in complete control, and we are seeing a guy that deserves to be playing a lot. Like, this is what we were sold, right? First-round pick, and I know that there were the issues last year where I think it was largely a mental thing where he thought he was going to play here, and he didn't. But tell me that you did not feel more confident tonight watching him play in goal against the Ducks than you felt watching Gustafsson, I think it was on Tuesday night against the Sharks.
I felt a lot more comfortable. I mean, he just looks so confident, collected. He's very cool, but also robotic is, I think, the word to maybe describe him, because he is fundamentals 101. You watch him and he's square to the puck every single shot. His rebound control is really good. It's rivaling, I think, what we see from Gustafsson when he's on his game as well. But I mean, there's times where I feel like late in the game, and I think I said this to you against the Sharks, which was they were leading and it kind of felt like the play in front was so, and even in this game at times it was so with the giveaways, but never once was I like, he's going to be the reason why a goal gets let up. He's going to stay 100% the entire time. And boy, we saw it. I mean, down to the very end, even when the game was essentially wrapped up 2-0, they get the face-off win. They charge back in the zone and there's a little scramble out right on top. He preserves it. He earned himself the shutout tonight. And it's, I mean, I think we're still a ways off from saying that he is like he should get the number 1 goaltending job. But what we've seen from him lately is a huge step in the right direction, especially based off what we saw last season, which was very much down and out. And can he come back from it? Whatever has happened over the offseason into this year, he's put that in the past. This is the guy that you traded up to get. And I'm glad that we're seeing that kind of come to fruition, because this has been a long time coming, that a lot of murky water, a lot of question marks. Is he going to be the guy? He sure as hell looking tonight like he could be the guy.
Yeah, and so I'm going to say something that might sound weird because he was spectacular in making the 28 saves tonight. But what really stood out to me was he didn't make what I consider to be any like super acrobatic saves. Not because he didn't make really good saves. He did. But because he was so positioned so well. Like, he tracked the puck perfectly. And there were some chances where a lot of goaltenders probably, and look, it's one game or it's a couple games, so I get that, okay? But where a lot of goaltenders probably would be out of position and scrambling to get back in position, and they might make a great save, but you would say, holy cow, that was a great save, right? With Gus tonight, it felt like he was, and it felt like this against the Flames too, but he's tracking the puck so damn well right now. And, yeah, I think it's a very important step. You know, we've complained about this, rightfully so, but this is an example of it working. You need to find out what you have. Like, Philip Gustafsson's a nice goaltender, but you drafted Wahlstedt in the first round, right? Zebulium, you know, you traded up to get him. First round. I mean, these kids are your future. And so I'm pretty optimistic too, because I do think the whole thing last year with Gus was probably a lot of self-inflicted wounds of he thought he was going to be here. The salary cap didn't allow it. Even if he had been here, he wouldn't have played a ton. But I thought in the games he did play here, there was a couple, I think, but we were at one, which was right in this building last year, where he played in a game and he played well. I feel like when we watch him, he just does a lot of things well. And so just big picture, I love the fact that this is a kid who's getting a chance, because I'm so tired of kids not getting a chance. And if nothing else, with the way he played in the Islanders game, the Calgary game, and then especially tonight, I think Wallstedt's proving that he's not going to supplant Gustafsson, but he certainly deserves a fair share of the load. And this is not, right now at least, this is not a 1-2. It's probably a 1A, 1B.
Yes, and with what we've seen from this team, the coaching staff, the mentality, and this even goes back through the Dean Evison time here, which was they like to ride the hot hand in net. It'll be interesting when they get, because it is a congested schedule up until the Olympics, so they're going to have a stretch of like a week and a half here where they probably play 5 games. I would like to see when they come to that, if Wahlstedt's playing like this and he continues to do so, do they opt for, you know what, we're going to give him the extra game. Gus, you're going to probably maybe get a harder opponent, but we're going to give the 3 versus 2 in favor of Wahlstedt, and we'll see. But the next step obviously would be to see if he can maintain this level of play at a starter's workload. But given how the lineup is set and how you have a goaltender in Gustafsson, you're not going to see him go with a 70-30 split ever, which you shouldn't. And we've seen teams that are able to win and go deep do this, where you have 2 very capable goaltenders. That's a far way off because we know what they've done here so far. And granted, the past since the start of November, they've been a better hockey team. But now the schedule looking ahead here, starting tomorrow with the Vegas Golden Knights coming in town, you have some really tough competition coming up. How will this team be able to maybe take some momentum they built against bad teams, shift it on it? And granted, I think tonight's win, it really depends on how much stock you put in the Anaheim Ducks. I think they've looked really good this year. Tonight, I was very impressed by their play, and I was maybe more impressed by the Wild's ability to limit them in 5-on-5 chances. I think the power play is something I'm sure we'll touch on because they essentially went 0-for-7 tonight. The 5-on-5 opportunities against Peter Mrazek, who looked good tonight, but I think over the course of the season is not the great goalie. But also, Dostal is their main guy. The Ducks are a good team this year, based on removing everything you know about them from the past 3 years that have been bad. I think this is a really good foothold for the Wild to potentially propel themselves into good play tomorrow against the Golden Knights before they go back. No, and then they're out. They're
Canes though on Wednesday here.
That's
another good one. That's a tough one.
And they're going to be looking for some revenge because wasn't that a 4-3 overtime loss or a 4-3 loss a mere week and a half ago?
4-3 loss.
4-3 loss
for the Wild. 4-3.
Yes,
loss.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah.
But the Wild are going to be looking for a little revenge there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but Wahlstedt is, I think, the story tonight. The offense could be better, but in net he was rock solid, and that was awesome to watch.
So the Ducks had won 7 consecutive games. They're on a road trip now. They've lost 3 games. They lost to Detroit on, I believe it was Thursday, and then they dropped a game before that at the start of their trip. So they've been up and down. They're a young team. They're a good team. They're a young team. I thought one of the most interesting dynamics of tonight's game, and it's probably the style the Wild has to play, but if you think about it, like both the Sharks and the Ducks are flat out more talented. They're faster, they're craftier. It doesn't mean they're going to get more shots because like tonight the shots were 30 for the Wild, 28 for the Ducks. But like you watch the Sharks top end talent skate, Wild, they got Kaprizov, but they don't have that across the board. The Ducks and the Sharks exactly the same. But I'm with you in the fact that I do think that the Wild did a pretty good job with great goaltending. Now that's a big with, but with great goaltending, I thought the Wild did a pretty good job of limiting things pretty well. Now your goaltender has to make saves. Like that's the story of this game, because if Wahlstedt doesn't play like he did, they don't win. They probably lose by a couple of goals, at least 1 goal. But I did think that the only way the Wild, in my opinion, can combat teams like this right now, Age, is to play a hard game against them. They did a pretty good job. And the thing that's interesting about this entire thing, going back to Wahlstedt, is this one, though. So I'm with you. You can't just start to play him and play him. Like, that's not going to happen, nor should it happen. But points are at such a premium now because you had such a bad start that you have to scoop up as many points as possible. Like the fact that this team is 1-4 in 5-on-5 OT, right? Like that's a major problem. Like you have punted away points, and the standings are tight right now, and the Wild's in okay shape. But the reality is this: your start was bad enough that you need to get points. So in some ways, yes, you've got to allocate the goaltending play and the play in a way that's going to help you long term. But then to your point, like with the Olympic break in February too, you do have to, if you're a team like the Wild, go pedal to the metal, because you've got to get points here. Like tonight's 2 points was huge. Quite frankly, if they had beaten the Sharks, that's huge. 2 points, right? So it's sort of a balancing act of, yes, it's early. It's almost Thanksgiving, though, so it's not as early as we think. And you have to collect some points here because unlike a year ago when you got off to a great start and it saved your bacon, it's the exact opposite now. And you could find in March or April that you're really hurting because of a bad start. And so any points that you get now, especially wins, I think are enormous.
One thing I want to bring up to you and have you hear your thoughts on tonight are something that I thought was going to actually make the Wild maybe lose a point in this one or force them to go to overtime, which is the consistent, maybe halfway through the game, the turnovers, the giveaways that just kept happening and happening.
Yep.
Matt Boldy, other than I think two very potentially costly giveaways on a power play early in the first, he played a fantastic game, but you saw it again by Kirill coughing up some giveaways. Brock Faber with a couple weak giveaways as well in his own defensive zone. I thought this was going to come back and haunt them, but maybe that's a more credit to Wahlstedt and goal for bailing them out. But that's something where you can't do that every night. You can't come back tomorrow night into this building and expect to give, and we don't have the official stats on the night quite yet, how many giveaways they had, but it felt like there was quite a bit from the Wild that the Ducks just weren't able to take advantage of. But that's something they're going to have to weed out here if they really want to make a run to get back up into the playoff picture.
And the two that, and at the end of the day, Matt Boldy had a really good game, but the two turnovers that he had early in the first period, it might have been, in fact, it was, with the Wild on a power play, were awful. Now, he got his act together, and I thought the last two periods from Matt were outstanding. But, yes, tonight felt like a game in which Wahlstedt saved you, and the Ducks couldn't capitalize. But, yeah, and the Kaprizov thing I don't get. Like, it just feels, and it might just be recency bias. It might be a poor use of the eye test. It feels to me, though, like he is giving the puck away and losing battles for the puck more than I ever recall. Because we've talked about this going back to the start of his time here. He's strong. Like, that dude is a strong guy. And I don't know what's happened here or why. But, yeah, it felt, again, tonight, especially early on, like the Wild had some turnovers that if your goaltending hadn't been so good, probably would not just have been egregious, but would have cost you goals. That concerns me. Quite frankly, your power play, which had been great, had been outstanding. Thank you, sir. Which had been outstanding. 0 for 7. Here's a new one. So they had 2 4-minute power plays called for high sticks, AJ. Mm-hmm. And on those two, let's see if I documented it here. On those two, they had a combined, I want to say, 6 shots on goal. Didn't score a goal. It was, the power play has been good. So, this is not bagging on the power play. The power play actually was one of the few bright spots through the really bad start. But certainly tonight, the Wild couldn't capitalize. And at the end of the day, at the end of the game, the power play chances, 7, because the double minors are 2 apiece. So 7 power play chances for the Wild, 2 of them for the Ducks. You got to capitalize there. I'm not saying on 7, but you got to capitalize on 1 or 2. That makes Wahlstedt's job and your job much simpler than what really amounts to a 1-0 victory, which was also aided at the end of the day by a Boldy goal. So power play tonight, not good. I'm with you completely. Turnovers remain to me a definite concern.
Well, speaking of turnovers, we have the official stats now, thanks to Ken, and 21 for the Wild, 12 for the Ducks. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different players on the Wild with multiple giveaways. Matt Boldy had 3, and 2 of those were really bad passes, so take away those, and it was just 1. But that's not sustainable. That has to get cleaned up somehow, and this doesn't show whether it's offensive or defensive, because I feel like in the past with Kaprizov, a lot of them almost came offensive zone where he's trying to make a pass that maybe the creativity is there, it just doesn't work out, and so the offense goes the other way, and the opposition is maybe able to not have anything materialize out of that because there's that play in the neutral zone. But we're seeing it more in his own zone. When it comes to the power play, the thing that frustrated me tonight about maybe on top of them not scoring at all and essentially an 0 for 7 chance, which is they were getting the double minors, but then it was losing a face-off or jumbling on themselves in the offensive zone, and then you get it forced out. And the Ducks did a really good job of pressuring the puck carrier, holding up the Wild from getting back into the zone. And this has been a theme all season long, I think, on the power play. The zone entry has to be fixed. They're not getting into the zone efficiently enough to be able to actually set up and start doing what they want. And by the time they do, there's 40 seconds left, and that's on a normal 2-minute. Here, you're getting the extra leeway, the runway with a 4-minute double minor, but you're not being able to actually utilize all that time. They do these drop passes, or it's like walking into the zone. You look at strong skaters on both units. You have Kirill Kaprizov. I think Zibulian has showed it. You have Marcus Johansson on the second line, and I'm going to give him flowers here because he is a silky smooth skater. Maybe not the strongest on his feet when it comes to taking contact, but he is a very good skater. Have one of these guys just put their head down and burst into the zone and get low, establish deep in the offensive zone, and then you work it back out to the top, and then you start doing things offensively. It's not this, let's make 2 passes right before the blue line, and then one more the second we get in, and then, it gets poke checked away, and now we're back out of neutral zone. We have to reset. They have to be able to get the puck low, and it's as simple, I think, as just holding on and having one guy bulldoze his way into the zone. That's I think all they need to do, and their output tonight would be at least, they're going to at least sustain a little more pressure, and that's all I'm looking for.
Do you think that Bouillon over time will just get better at that, though? Like he knows how to, he's fast enough. He knows how to get the puck into the zone. He's back on the first power play, which, by the way, I'm not going to complain about one bit. I would rather give him an opportunity to run the first power play than Spurgeon. But do you think that over time, Zeev gets more comfortable with that? Because there are times where he tries to make plays by himself, and he'll make a move or two, and it's like, that's a great move or two. But then by the third move, he's out. He's, has the puck stripped, or he's out of gas. What's your opinion on that? Is this a work in progress as well? Because there are certain things that are frustrating. I said to you at one point, I think it was in the third period, I'm not questioning their personnel. I am questioning the strategy at times. But how much of this do you think is Bouillon needs the opportunity to get comfortable? And just to be very clear, I'm not complaining. I would rather see him work on that than to have Spurgeon have the point like he did, or the quarterback job like he did, because there is no long-term future in that.
I think we see flashes of it at times, because after a couple failed attempts, it almost looks like they almost punt on what they're doing, and they're like, okay, Zeev is just going to take it in, and he does kind of weave his way in, and and maybe this is just me doing Bouillon propaganda, but it looks like he is slow motion, kind of just like working his way through a crowd, and he gets into the zone, but then he does 90%, and then it's like a failed pass or a turnover. So it nearly works, and maybe if they did that more and relied on it from the start, we'd see more success. I agree with you completely, though, when it comes to, I don't mind the personnel. It's the usage of said personnel where my biggest issue, and I think you agree with me on this, which is Kaprizov 97 in the middle as the bumper should not be his job. His role should be almost like a playmaker, I think, low below the goal line and dish, because he has such good vision, or opposite of what Ovechkin does, where he's got his office. We've seen Kaprizov have a wicked one-timer or wrist shot from that far side, kind of left winger offhand. Get him out there, work the puck around to him, and then it should be as simple as, once you get set up, going to the top QB, and then you're working to the wingers, trying to have that box of the defense shift, and all of a sudden a shooting lane is going to open, you force it to the net, and then you have your Eriksson Ek 14 already there, ready to shovel it in. You have the opposite winger who's not taking the shot, crash on the back door.
Eriksson Ek can
through.
Sometimes
yeah.
This year has not felt like a great year for him to shovel the puck in.
Yeah, you're right.
Unfortunately.
But yes, I think if we give him more opportunities and have the Wild, it doesn't even have to be him for that matter. Like I said, Kaprizov is strong on his skates. It's not just him that has to be the carrier into the zone. You could really have 2 or 3 guys do it. If they do that, I think they're going to find more success.
My problem with him in the bumper spot too, because after we talked about this, I gave this more thought. part of my problem with him in the bumper spot is the bumper spot now, and this is probably much like Justin Jefferson seeing, unique and multiple coverages. It feels like, because that's such a tight phone booth there. Like the bumper spot is not this soft zone. If it is, it's great, but it's not this soft zone. There's a lot of congestion there, and it feels like opponents are, and I don't blame them one bit, are shading towards him. So, like, if Krill does get a chance there, it's not very long. So, like, ordinarily as a bumper, because it's in the slot, it's from a great place. But my opinion is that opponents are so geared up now for him there that they're taking away opportunity. So if I'm John Hines, I probably do what you just said, which is move him. Because, I mean, he's a multiple dimensional player. He's not like he can play one spot. Like, if Eric Zanek is going to be on the power play, he's in front of the net, and that's his role. Sometimes he scores, sometimes he doesn't. But the reality is with Kaprizov, it just, when you watch it, especially, so just for disclosure's sake, we're in the press box, and we are in the end where the Wild shoots in the second period. So the long change. So when we're there, you get a really good view, at least on the power play, of how things set up. And when I watch it, the Ducks are collapsing towards Kaprizov, and it just feels like they're taking away his time and space so quickly. So I like your idea, which is move him around, keep it a little bit more inconsistent. Doesn't mean he can't be in the bumper. And there were times tonight where he abandoned it, but like I would start him outside of the bumper, and I would have more of a grind guy there, as opposed to, it feels like they are asking, correct me if you think I'm wrong here, it feels like right now they are asking Boldy to do some of the things that you would like Kirill to do, when I think I would actually rather see Matt do some of the more grinded out heavy lifting stuff from the slot and give Kirill a chance to play make. Because you're right, like the one thing is Kirill Kaprizov can make plays. Like, he's fantastic. It's a small thing, but you can't ignore the fact, as nice a win as this was, and the goaltending was great tonight, you can't ignore the fact that they were 0 for 7 on the power play. And then to your point, you got the Golden Knights coming to town, and the Golden Knights, like, this does begin to stretch Golden Knights, Hurricanes of teams that are, the Ducks are up and coming, and I really like them. The Golden Knights and Hurricanes are far more established.
It does feel like, though, that they're asking, I mean, they're asking a guy who's got all the skill in the world to do a job that is not beneath him, but a job that isn't going to maximize the production that he has to offer. Like, you have an incredibly skilled goal scorer out on the ice, and you're putting him in an area where on the power play, I just don't think he's touching the puck enough. And that's probably my overarching issue with what it is. The puck should be on his stick, I mean, a third of the time while they're in the offensive zone. Because you have the QB, you have whoever the other winger is, which I believe at times has been either Matt Zuccarello or in this case, Matt Boldy. And it's just not getting around to Kirill, other than either a small chip to the middle, which I am sick of. He's got 4 guys around him. You think that soft chip to the middle is going to give him enough time to actually do anything? Correct. Or it's on a rebound, which he has great hand-eye, but they're not forcing the puck to there enough. And that's where I'll finally give a round of applause to the fans in the building who shoot. Like, that's the one time I'll give, go ahead, shoot it more. Speaking of shooting the puck, really quick, because this jumped off the page at me, 9 shots for Kirill Kaprizov tonight. 9. That's
including a point blank from the slot that was an unbelievable chance.
Yeah. But it feels like we haven't seen a lot of that high volume just shooting from him in a while. It's kind of hovered around that 2 to 4 range most nights. I think he's averaging 2.3 shots on goal a game. This is exactly what I want to see. Like, and that's with his usage on the power play, where he's not in a high lethal chance, in my opinion, to beat the goalie. Get him. He should be almost touching double digits every night if you're using him correctly.
13 attempts, because he had 9 shots, 4 missed shots. 13 attempts is great. And then the thing that and we talked about this throughout the course of the game in the press box, especially when Boldy started to play well. Boldy, 5 shots on goal, 3 missed shots, so 8 attempts, 1 hit. So what I liked about Boldy's game tonight, especially the last 2 periods too, is I believe it was at the start of the season when he played with Kirill. We're like, this is vintage Boldy, right? like he's helping drive this line, but it's the first line, and Kirill's the star of it. Well, I felt like there was a long period there where they broke them up, and I was saying a week and a half ago, just put Boldy and Kaprizov back together at some point here. But it feels like what we saw tonight was Boldy, and I think you said this to me, and you're right. Boldy drove the second line. Like, this is who Matt Boldy is. Like, he's this good. This is not a fluke. This is not a shocker. This is not a surprise. And I don't know if it took him some time to get comfortable or what, but on that second line, which is Johansson on the left, Boldy on the right, Jules Eriksson Ek at center, Matt Boldy drove play, and that is what you need. Like, from those top six, you need Kaprizov to drive play, no question. Now, with Marco Rossi on IR now, Ryan Hartman played center on the first line. We can talk about that. The center depth is very questionable. But just as far as who can drive a line, Kirill Kaprizov, no question about it, can. Matt Boldy can, and I thought Matt Boldy did tonight.
Yeah, and like you said, this is a night where hours before the game, it seemed like they were doing 60 different like roster moves, putting guys on IR. Guys are game time decisions. Matt Zuccarello was out there for warmups. Game time decision for him. He ends up playing. Left for, I want to say, 10-minute stretch or so to end the, what was it, the second period, maybe the first period.
Sick. Yeah, he's been ill,
and he's been ill, but he
at
came
the end
back.
Of the first period. Yes.
But they, people are stepping up. Matt Boldy came in there. Vladimir Tarasenko injured during practice. He didn't play tonight. Another guy who would be probably a winger spot. You have Vinny Hinostroza step up in a decent way there too. I thought that third line had some speed. That's really about as much as I can say. But Matt Boldy drove the line, and that's something where to start the season he was with Kirill. It's easy to have two really skilled players play together and produce. He got moved off of there. It was more of he still looks like he's engaged, and that's been our critique of him in the past, but there's not a lot of production. Then it's, the narrative, does he need another star? Does he need another high-skilled player with him? Well, tonight he kind of made Jules Eriksson Ek and Marcus Johansson look better than maybe, because I think Ek offensively has not had that good of a season.
Nope.
And Marcus Johansson, I still think we know who he is despite how he's been playing. But he's been producing because he's been playing on the top line with Kirill and now bumped down because of Matt Zuccarello coming back. He had the game-winning goal tonight off of a very good pass by Matt Boldy to set him up right out front. Matt Boldy drove the line tonight. That's what we want. He was in the driver's seat. And when you have two lines that are able to produce because guys are making their teammates, their line mates kind of rise to the occasion, that allows the Ducks forces the Ducks to not pretty much put all of their defensive attributes to one line. And it's like, okay, if we shut down these three guys, it's going to be a pretty easy night. You have two lines now that are pretty threatening, and that makes it tough for any opposition. So, I mean, Matt Boldy driving that line does wonders. And I think the Ducks they're a good team, but when you look at their defensive core, like Jackson Lindholm, very good player. Yeah. Jacob Trouba, not the guy that he used to be. Olin Zellweger, young, just played in his 100th game, I want to say last week. It's not like these are it's not an all-star defensive core on the Ducks side, but they are a decent, solid defensive team. They had to spread out their defensive attributes tonight, and the Wild were able to capitalize here and there.
Yeah, so let's say, at the end of the day against the Sharks, Macklin Celebrini got you. He had 2 assists. He assisted on the late game tying goal and then on the winning goal in OT on Tuesday night. But he had no shots in regulation. Okay, I mean at the end, it's not, he still beat you, but that was not a bad performance. But let's look at the first line for the Ducks tonight. Leo Carlson had their first line center, who's a marvelous player, had 2 shots on goal. Cutter Gauthier had 3 shots on goal, and Alex Killorn, who's the right wing, had 1 shot. So again, to your point off the top of the show, the Wild did a pretty good job of containing them as well, and that's part of X's job. And so, I mean, he's got 2 goals. I think it is hold on, I'll check the stats here. He's got 2 goals in 19 games. So offensively, this is like off the charts, not good for him. But they did a good job of containing them. Let's talk about, we've talked about the good, which is the fact that Boudreaux continues to play a lot and that Wahlstedt was great. Let's talk about the not so good from the young. Liam Ogren gets recalled tonight. He plays the third line left wing with Urov at center and then Hinostroza at right wing. And Ogren had 1 shot and played a grand total of 6 minutes and 6 seconds in tonight's game. Just for context on his line mates, Urov played 9:45 of this game, and Hinostroza played 8:22. So Ogren 606, 11 shifts, 1 shot on goal. What was your takeaway? Because it doesn't change for me. I just don't think they have any faith in this kid, and I unfortunately don't know if it's coming, and I don't know if what they don't trust in him is warranted or not. But the more you watch him, the more it just feels like he A, has no confidence, and B, you do have to wonder if they do make a trade at some point here for a player who can score some goals. You got to think Ogren is going to be included in that trade.
I wasn't impressed by that line that much, but frankly, because of what you just said with the time, 6 minutes, 9 minutes. And I know what Urov is, I think now, and I think he's a guy that's going to be in this lineup for a while. He looks like he fits. We know what Hinostroza is, but when it comes to Ogren, it's just another case of we're not seeing him enough. And this is now the first time that we've seen him in a while. He gets 6 minutes. Maybe tomorrow night that 6 turns into 8 and we're able to make a little bit more. There was one instance where I was actually impressed by what they did. It was a takeaway in the defensive zone, and then it was a skate out of the own zone by Urov, who went off the half wall right in front of the benches on the far side of where we sit, and hit Ogren, who was in stride, and beat who is it? Drew Hellison, 14, Farmington boy. Beat him in a foot race to then get a shot with speed on the rush. And granted, I think it got blockered away pretty easily by Mrazek. But one of the things we've talked about here is their transition game is not that speedy. Like the Ducks are a faster team than them. And if we had a measure or like a average speed by total team or something like that, I think the Wild would fall pretty low on that list. The Sharks are a faster team than them, and we talked about that up here when we were watching that game. Tonight, it was pretty evident that the Ducks are just a faster team than them. But that line on that rush up ice, it showed speed. Urov, he's a good skater. And Ogren, on that instant, he was flying. I don't know if we can see that often. I would love to see more of him to see if we can actually get that high-speed transition game. But you're still not getting enough time, and it just tells me exactly what you said, which is they don't really have the confidence in him, and he's really only here playing right now because guys are sick, guys are hurt, guys are, throwing up in the bathroom because of worse. So I think if they make a trade at some point here before the deadline, he is still out the door unless he goes on a heater here, and even then that might just bring up the trade value because whatever it is, they just don't like it.
I will say this. 19 games now. Yakov Trenin, skinnier, faster, not better. No goals. Foligno, 18 games now. Moose, fan favorite. Moose, 18 games, no goals. In fact, your fourth line now, Ben Jones has only played 7 games, but it was remarkable tonight, the amount of chances they generated, and it's like they can get the puck in the zone. They're heavy, so they work. I mean, especially Marcus and Ben, they can get the puck in, but man, once it's in there, you got to draw them a roadmap. But yeah, so you had a fourth line tonight with no goals, and let's just see for the sake of this discussion, Foligno played 11:45, Trenin played 12:27, and Ben Jones played 8:56. Now Ben Jones did go 5-2 in the dot, so that is not a bad thing. 71%. The Wild will take that, but it's it's hard to believe that Ogren cannot get a sniff, or that they, when we're talking about, like when you look at the goal scoring total, Marcus has just been really rough. He's played. I think he's trying hard, and he is contributing at times. Trenton, I don't know how much he is. Like, he will make a nice play every once in a while. And Ben Jones is young, but I think if I was to rank, like, who from the fourth line would I feel very comfortable scratching, unfortunately, because I think he's in year 2 of a 4-year contract, Yakov Trenton remains a guy that I would feel very comfortable scratching.
Yeah, I would still lean, only if it takes away from Yurov being in the lineup, probably Ben Jones, because the bar is so low face-off wise, where that is a breath of fresh air that he went 5-2. But tomorrow he might get the same opportunities and go 2-5. Like, sure. I haven't seen him do that consistently enough. Yep. Foligno, I think he kills penalties, does he not? And that's why he got up to 11:45. So, like, that's why you're going to leave him in the lineup. And he wears the A. He's a fan favorite.
It's been rough, but it
has been rough, but he still brings some value, I think, to why he's still going to be there.
Yes.
So it does probably fall. No, I'll disagree. I think it's Ben Jones. I think Ben Jones is who I would scratch out of that. But you do need a center there. And so while Nico Sturm is out, and especially now that Marco Rossi's out, Ben Jones, to my chagrin, probably finds his way into the lineup here until somebody comes back, but I don't know how soon that'll be. So
Trenton penalty kill tonight. He played shorthanded, 1 minute 55 seconds. Marcus Foligno tonight on shorthanded 2 minutes. So both of them play on the PK. But Yakov Trenton, man, it's been rough. It's been rough. Okay, the last thing we are going to do, I started it with Ben Jones, but let's look how the Wild did in the dot tonight. Because God knows it's nice if they can win a bleeping faceoff. Yakov Trenton, actually, 3-0. Took 3 faceoffs. He won them all. How about that? Jules Eriksson, who I believe has still had a rough season in the dot, if I am correct, in the faceoff circle. Won 14 and lost 13, so he was at 52%. That might be a step in the right direction. And Ryan Hartman, who centered the first line, played 17:49 tonight, was 8-4, which you'll take. It did feel so. The Wild actually won the battle tonight in the faceoff circle. They won 33 faceoffs and lost 24, 58%. So I don't know how often they've won the faceoff battle throughout the course of the season, but you will certainly take that on this night, and we will see what happens against the Golden Knights. I am looking forward to the next 2 games. Unfortunately, I can't come tomorrow because the Wild's playing at 5 o'clock when the Vikings are playing at noon. An absolute why the Wild doesn't play at 7, I don't get. But I think that's going to be a fun game. And by the way, before we go, it is secured, ladies and gentlemen. I give you the gravy boat. This guy who bought a ticket and didn't use that ticket just to get the gravy boat. This guy right here. You weren't going to cheat me out of that boat.
Can we get it out of the box so we can see it? While you do that, I do think tomorrow night and Wednesday night are very telling of if this team has actually turned it around. The recent games have been against lesser opponents. You should be able to get points. You probably should have got 2 points in a couple of those that went to overtime. Sharks game, yes. But tomorrow, very good Vegas Golden Knights team. Wednesday, I think wagon Carolina Hurricanes team. If you get 3 points from those, I mean, they're at home, so that's in your favor. But if you can get 3 points, I am going to start feeling a little more confident about this team moving forward, for sure.
Here it is. Hold on.
I
give you the gravy boat. Now, as our friend Jesse Pierce pointed out, and she's not wrong, I don't think the lip, first of all, it's really small, which is fine, but it's very small. But second of all, I don't think the lip is great for pouring. It's right there. I'm not sure that's a big enough lip.
Yeah.
Like for a gravy pour, it feels like it needs to be in the indentation, right?
You got to scoop it out a little
bit more.
That's just like a square that you are turning.
I'm going to tell you right now, this ain't going on the table. I thought it might. Now it's not. No, it's going to be displayed. And it came with this. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you an oven mitt. I give you an oven mitt. How about that for Thanksgiving? Now, this I can take home and definitely can be used a week from Thursday. So the highlight of my night, not the game.
That lipstick.
The game. That game's fine. Whatever on the game. But best wild giveaway, and this comes from a guy that collects bobbleheads, the best wild giveaway in a long time.
Are we still calling
Gravy boat.
like if you have to buy a ticket package? Does it classify as a giveaway? Because
No, you're right. That's a good point. Good point. Okay, what would you call it? Promotion?
Yeah, it's a.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it's a promotion because the orange hats that everybody. If everybody is leaving with it, that's a giveaway in my opinion. But if you have to do a specific,
you're right.
It's still very cool. But
oh yeah, I'm not taking away from it. But yeah. you're right. It's a promotion. Because when did ticket packages start? I'm trying to remember now. Now the Twins do them as well a lot for like a college night, right? Like if you're a St. Cloud State or a Mankato alum. They do, that's a weird coffee mug. I would not try to drink coffee from that. That gravy boat looks like how Ben Jones plays hockey. That is, you don't know that Ben Jones' parents aren't watching this show. He's a fourth line center who won 5 faceoffs tonight. Come on, Thomas, give the kid a break.
Oh, I should.
Now, if you said that it looks like how Yakov Trena plays hockey, he's a veteran. He can handle that. That would be far more fair. But yeah, ticket packages have changed because it used to be giveaways. It used to be just bobblehead nights and whatever, first 10,000 fans, 8,000 fans. So that's a good point. All right, we're done. Probably back on Monday, you think?
I don't see why not. Yeah, we're going to have a nice Vegas Golden Knights game to talk about.
Monday morning we will be back. So that will be out probably by about 9 or 10 o'clock. Judd's Hockey Show. Appreciate you all spending at least a portion of your Saturday night with us. He's AJ. I'm Judd. We'll talk to you later.